Hey everybody, we are at another Chef to Chef live presented by Club Resort Chef Association. This week's sponsor is North Star, so we appreciate everything North Star does for Club Resort and the club chefs around the country. And I want to encourage everybody to visit the website as well. It's the association.clubandresortchef.com. Please go on it. Feel free to subscribe to the association and get some of the downloads that we're providing for everybody. This week we are visited by a couple of Troon Chefs. Troon, obviously a big managed resort and club property around the country, and we're joined by two chefs. The first one is David Smith, coming from Manchester Country Club in New Hampshire. David, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Peter Holderied is from the club at St. James, and that's in North Carolina. So, chefs, thanks for joining me here on a Saturday. It's I'm sure it's a nice day out, and people are enjoying the club on a Saturday. I'd like to just start, as we always do, by asking what each chef is doing at their clubs right now, as far as food and beverage, the limitations you guys are going through, some of the staffing that you might be having to overcome, and talk to me about the limitations or non-limitations of your menus that you're currently providing for members. Chef David, if you want to start us off there, please.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're not, we're at full menu. We are fully staffed. This month in July, we'll make our budgeted numbers for revenue, and it wasn't there. We were down probably as much as 40 or 50%. But that's coming back strong, and we're doing a ton of takeout still. We're limited by the amount of people we can have inside, but I'm sure, as Chef will say too, we do a lot of outdoor dining to begin with, so we already had that set up, so we're doing good with that. There's challenges with it's mostly about the social distancing and the setting up for the COVID-19 and keeping things clean, and getting the members to understand all that, because but they come here and they feel safe, coming here. And we've been doing pretty good. We haven't had too many challenges with staffing. Our event business is the biggest problem. We do, 2.8 million in an event business, which isn't a ton, but it's a pretty good amount, and it's a lot for us. And it's almost non-existent. As I said, we're just starting to kind of dip our toe back into the water, and it seems to be a lot of smaller events, a few small weddings. Lost all of our golf outings because you can't shotgun. But we just recently were able to shotgun again, but those are already gone by. I picked a new date next year, so all that's gone. So that's kind of really our biggest challenge, is just trying to get that event business back, and that's solely I think people's comfort level.
Is your a la carte above and beyond? Is it overachieving budget from year to date or last year, like a lot of clubs are? Are you seeming to do quite a bit more a la carte, whether it's to go or in-house dining?
Yeah, no, that's catching up. That's what this month in July will be the first month that we'll actually make budget. We've been down as much as 45%, and then 20%, 15% last month, and now it seems to be like we're going to hit it this month. So moving forward, so a la carte and member dining, member spending for that is all good. Like everybody else, we did a grocery program at the beginning of this whole thing. A ton of takeout. We never stopped, so we just kind of kept going, and they appreciate that. But yeah, this will be our first month, I think, when we hit the budget, and then I hope moving forward, we're only talking member dining, like I just said. The banquets are difficult.
Yeah, nobody's really talking too many outside events going on. Chef Peter, you talking to you the other day, you are in a bit of a factory, aren't you, down there in North Carolina? I think you have a lot of clubhouses, you have a lot of things going on there. Talk to me about what's been going on the last couple of months for you.
So currently we have 2 clubhouses open out of the 4 that we typically have open. We also have one of our restaurants had a fire last year, and It was an electrical fire. It wasn't in the kitchen. So kept my fingers crossed when I got that phone call.
Yeah.
But that is still under construction because we don't own that property. We rent that space. So there's been a lot of negotiation between the insurance companies on working on that clubhouse. But we currently have the reserve clubhouse open and founders clubhouse open. And just like, Chef Smith said, a lot of takeout. Founders is consistent, which is more of a casual dining. We do pizzas out of there, hamburgers, things like that. They do on average probably about 90 to 100 every night just for takeout. We are doing in-room dining, and that has a very small capacity. It's not a very big clubhouse in that aspect. So on average, they're probably doing about 40 to 50 seating inside. Reserve Club is our bigger club, is the newest and biggest clubhouse we have on property. That's typically just for our high-end membership, but because of everything the way it is, we open it up to everybody just to give them another option. We're doing, I want to say probably, well, depending on the day. So Thursday, we've got prime rib night. We're doing probably 150 to 200 orders of prime rib to go. And then we have in-room dining as well. So, I mean, we're probably cooking off about 15 prime ribs just for Thursday night. And then we did the groceries. We're still doing groceries. Actually, we usually have about 100, maybe 115 orders of groceries every week. We also did family meal style takeout. We stopped doing that a couple of weeks ago because once we started opening up and the neighboring towns opened up restaurants, that just died off. So there was really no reason to do it. We cut that back. We've been doing a lot of different events every month. 4th of July barbecue kits, Father's Day grill kits where we had steaks come in from Chicago, from the stockyards up there. They had the choice of either prime rib, filet, or New York strips. And they got 2 of them with sides, and then they could take it home and grill it themselves. So it was like a grill package. I think we did, about 325 orders for that one, if I remember the numbers off the top of my head correctly. We do live lobsters every month. We go through a purveyor called Inland Seafood, and they get their lobsters straight from Maine. And they, the first time we did it, we did over 400 lobsters, and they're live. We don't cook it. We just put a lobster in a box and go, here you go, enjoy, take it home, have fun.
Hey, Chef, do you provide, with all your boxes going out, do you provide instructions for them? Are they a little needy as far as what, obviously everybody probably hopefully knows how to cook a steak or something like that, but the lobsters, are you kind of giving them guidelines for the most part? Yeah.
All our boxes that we've been providing, we do reheat instructions if it's a reheat type of food, or cooking instructions for the lobsters. And we always have to put, of course, times may vary depending on your cooking apparatus. Because every oven cooks differently. We all know that, being in a kitchen every day. So, we do have to give some warnings to it. But our members are great. They are very receptive to everything that we're doing here. It's just a very large property. And so we have a lot of things going on constantly. We're starting our food truck on Monday, and it's called the Slider Provider.
Cool.
So as you can imagine from the name, it's all mini sliders, and you can get, basic hamburgers. US Foods has a really cool product. It's mini Nathan hot dogs, but it comes with the bun. So you don't have to search for, the bun, the hot dog, and try and match it up. It comes as kind of like a kit. So that's on there. We have a quinoa and black bean vegetarian burger that we make in-house. And it's a big food truck. It's a 26-footer. So it's a beast to drive. That's going to be fun. That's going to be hot, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
There's no air conditioning in them. So maybe I can lose a little bit of weight. That would be great.
So that's cool, man. That's a lot going on, Chef, for sure. Were you, both of you have your sous chefs, your core staff that you were able to keep during this period, David?
We were, yeah, because we stayed open, and our members were also very receptive of the takeout program and the grocery program. So, I mean, for sure, we kept the core busy. In the front of the house, it was, primarily, the front of the house managers, all the banquet, anybody on salary obviously was kept around. Our management did a great job of securing the money that from the PPP, and we have a Main Street program, so they were able to secure some money and all that to help financially. Our members also gave a ton of money, just via donations and all that to support staff that wasn't working. I have a question for a chef, though, too. Are you doing still doing a lot of golf outings down there, or are your golf rules different than ours in terms of, are you still able to shotgun? Because I'm kind of struggling with these like member guest type things for 100 and their tea time, so it could be 160 people, and usually feed them, but now we're feeding them over the course of 4 or 5 hours versus and it's hard to put out a buffet if you have people coming off the course 4 by 4. So I'd be curious to know what you're doing with golf stuff, or if you're just doing shotguns like you always have.
Golf is massive here. We're doing on average probably about 600 rounds of golf a day, between all the different golf courses we have. What we've done in the golf, just for food and beverage, because we have multiple clubhouses at all the different locations, we do have a limited lunch menu that they can order from. And now that they're allowed to come back inside, obviously some are taking advantage of it. We actually have a ladies member and a men's member going on right now as we speak, at 3 of our golf courses, and we're doing boxed lunches. They can pick it up on the turn, they can pick it up before they go out, or they can pick it up afterwards. So it's all sandwiches, waters, chips, cookies, apples. So we actually have, like I mentioned, that's literally going on as I speak right now. So it's been fun moving from clubhouse to clubhouse, because we can't prep in some of the clubhouses that are having the tournaments.
Yeah.
So we prep it at, let's say, Reserve Club or Founders that are open, and we pack it into our catering truck, and I drive around property delivering boxed lunches. And we did cancel our ladies member guests and men's member guests because we're not allowing guests into any of our clubhouses or to play golf at the moment. We have so many members that are trying to just get tee times themselves that we decided it really wasn't good for us to open up to guests. And with the limited dining in restaurants, it's the same thing. We'd rather provide what we can for our members versus guests coming in.
Yeah, but we're having guests. We've started having guests not that long after we opened. It was probably only maybe 2 or 3 weeks where there was no guests, and then they loosened up on that. But I guess there's still, we have big events and like weekend long events, I'm sure, as you do too, but they still want more. I still can put a grill out. I'll put a grill outside and things like that. We create social distancing as best we can around it, but yeah, they still want more. So those are the challenges to try to, as I said, they're like you might have a 5-hour span between the 8:30 and 12:30 tea time for an event for 100 and whatever 30 people. Let's just say, and then they start coming off 4 by 4, and they still want a plated meal or something like that. So we're trying to figure out how to do that. And I was wondering if there was more creative ways we could, I'm not put a buffet out there for 5 hours. That's crazy. Or it could be even longer than that for some of these events. So trying to send them out with something in the morning, like a box lunch or a snack bag or something like that, and then have them when they come back, either give them the option, give them a food credit or something like that for one of the a la carte spaces. They still seem to want to get, because they still include the food and the tournament cost on some of these things. So anyway, that's just one of the little challenges. We're just trying to, figure out a different way to do it. But it doesn't seem to be another way around it.
I think
the box lunches really seem to be working for our members. Really enjoy them.
What's that? What did you say, Thomas?
Well, I was going to let Peter talk, but I think in Chicago, we haven't even gotten to golf outings yet. Talking to a lot of chefs around here. I don't know too many, maybe trying to pull off a member guest, but an outside event, nobody's even really there yet. So obviously in North Carolina and even New Hampshire, some of the East Coast, they're doing a little bit of it, but I haven't even talked to anybody about the logistics of doing it, but I would assume a box lunch or some kind of lunch at the turn that is managed by staff is probably the only way around it right now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well,
kind of leads into another question I'd like to get into. Another topic is, as a Troon company, the umbrella the two of you are under, are they? Is there mandates by Troon about operations, or is it really taking on individual properties? Is it up to the individual properties and the management at those properties to dictate whether masks are worn or how to protect members and guests with barriers and everything like that? How is that going from club to club? Chef
well,
Dave?
Yeah, for me, Troon provides guidance. I mean, like everything else, but they still defer to the local guidance, because it really depends where you are. You could be in Chicago and not have one thing, but they put out a basic food and beverage thing. But we typically would follow the state guidelines. But Troon may have some specific things, like they don't want you to use bread baskets as an example, or they want you to use disposable, salt and pepper shakers or things like that. But then our local municipality might allow for some tabletop things that just have to be sanitized in between, like salt and peppers upon request, or creamers or bread baskets. I tend to defer to my local health department and all that, because it really depends where you are. Troon's trying to cast a wide net, so they can't really, they're fine with you deferring off into the local, I believe. That's what I'm doing.
Is everybody wearing masks in your kitchen?
No. The guys on the line don't always wear masks, and we set them up with socially distanced, prep stations and things of that nature. But once you're on the line, it's really hard to. Some guys will, and they'll choose to, but the front-facing, guest-facing people, like food runners and bussers and servers and bartenders and all those people, are all in masks, obviously. But no, not in the kitchen, not completely. No, I'm in a mask probably 90% of the time. There's just some things you just can't do, with it on. But you try to distance from each other as best you can. It's just one of those jobs. It's hard to do,
Chef Peter, you're bouncing from location to location. Is everybody kind of wearing a mask in that situation, or what's North Carolina like right now?
So here on our property, we have mandated that the back of the house does have to wear masks at all times. We've gone above and beyond the scope of what even North Carolina has said on some of the protocols. When we first reopened for in-room dining, we did everything disposable. We weren't even using glassware or metal forks and knives. Everything was disposable to try and cut down on touch points. We got some feedback from the members that they really didn't enjoy that. So when we went from phase 1 to phase 2, we did put in the regular plates and silverware. All front of the house have to wear masks at all times. Now even our guests, when they come in, they have to have a mask while they're in the building until they obviously sit down to eat. But when they get up, they have to put their mask back on. Everybody, when they walk in at the front door, has to get sanitized on their hands. All our employees get temperature checks every day before they're allowed to work. We're trying to crack down as best as we can now. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I've gone into kitchens and my cooks are having it around their neck. They've got it on their chin, because it's been close to probably 100 degrees down here almost every day recently. And, I do wear a light mask all the time. Obviously, I don't have it on right now, but I'm in my own office. So, but I just tell them, guys, if you got to take it off to take a breather for a minute, that's fine, but you got to put it back on. Because in some of our restaurants, you can kind of see into the kitchen, and our members are looking. They are watching everything that we're doing. So we are very diligent on making sure that everybody's wearing their masks at all times. It sucks. I mean, it gets hot in that kitchen.
Yeah.
It is not fun to wear the mask. You know, and even a person with a beard on, it still irritates my face and just it. But that's just the times that we're in, and we kind of have to do that for our membership as well as for the rest of our staff to stay safe.
Chefs, let's get into personal preferences as far as menus and everything real quick. And talk to me about the seasonality of your menus, the limitations of your menus, the rotation of your menus. What's your philosophy as far as what you're putting on there, and even in this pandemic or moving forward, as far as serving members and what they require, Chef David?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of clubs, there's a certain amount, and a fair amount, if not 60% of your menu is probably, a club classic type of an item that you just can't move. And we tend to run, daily specials at lunch, obviously, but at dinner, I went to a weekly format that I like and that the members really like, because it gives us an opportunity to kind of plan the menu for the week. We put it in, and then it runs all week long from, Tuesday to Sunday, and then we flip it out the following week. And the members like it because they can come in, they can see something they like on the menu on Tuesday, maybe try it, and they come back in on Friday and they have it and they like it. It gives us a chance to kind of develop items. I found it's better for my kitchen to not have people running around at 4 or 5 o'clock trying to figure out what the specials are and all that. I just never liked that aspect of it. So I like the planning portion of it. We can do our development for the menu there. I try to keep the menu, under control in terms of the size of it, because the members would have you put everything on the menu. Everything they liked, they wanted on the menu. So, you hear it all the time. Tell chef, put that on the menu. Tell chef, put that on the menu. And my answer is, well, that's great. I'd love to. What do you want to take off? You know what I mean? Something has to go, you know what I mean? Because they don't understand that there's an actual infrastructure, and you only have so much refrigeration to work with. You can't just keep adding, inventory to the products. So, if it's something that's really good and sells great, I'll mark it down for the next time, and then we'll make menu changes as we go. Like everything else, seasonally. So we just kind of put out our kind of like our end of summer or middle of summer. Kind of will take us through September, and then we'll kind of do a fall menu there, and then a winter thing, and then over the winter we dial it down a little bit because we're not as busy. Obviously, because we're not open year round. Well, we're open year round, but a golf course is not open.
Slow down, yeah. I think it's a good philosophy. I've heard that from a lot of chefs recently, a smaller changing menu. And there's nothing wrong with a member wanting to have something. In other words, have that, when is it coming back to the menu? It's always nice to tease them a little bit there and then bring it back, and then they all come in for it.
Right.
Chef Peter, what's your menu look like, and has it changed because of the pandemic, or are you still keeping the same philosophy?
The philosophy is still the same. We are offering full menu, like Chef David, at all our clubhouses that are open. I allow my individual chefs for those clubhouses to create their own menus. My philosophy is if you're the chef running that specific clubhouse, you've got to have a say in what's going on. What's the point of me coming in and going, here's a brand new menu. I don't care if you like it or not, you got to cook it. Well, they're not going to take any pride in that. They're not going to care about it. So I allow each chef of their individual clubhouses to write their own menus. I do review them with my food and beverage director, Lindsay, and tweak it if we see something that's kind of like really off. But most of my chefs have been on property for a while. I'm actually the newest probably chef on the property at a little over a year. So they kind of have it dialed into what each clubhouse represents on property. Reserve and Players are our two high-end restaurants. Then Members is a little bit more casual. Founders is a little bit more casual. And then Tommy Thompson's is kind of our beachy, fried fish baskets and, very, very, very casual. And that's also open to the public. It's the only place on property open to the public. We try to change our menus quarterly. The Reserve was closed down for a while, so when we reopened it recently, it still had the fall menu. So we actually just changed the menu like last week, you know, to try and give it a little bit more summery, a little bit more fresher ingredients on it. You know, it's tough in this location down here to get some of the products that I would love to get. You know, I'm from New Jersey. I worked in New York, the tri-state area. I could get anything I wanted at any point. You know, it was all at my fingertips. And then I come here and, you know, I'm like, okay, well, you know, let's see if we can get, you know, some truffle salt. And I'm like, who do you guys use for your higher end products? And who do you guys use for this? And they're like, oh, we can't get that down here. Everything is a special order. And it's like, you know, so trying to plan menus, especially for higher end events or chef table, you've got to start working on that menu weeks and months in advance to try and make sure you can get the product that you're looking for. So that is very tough, but the chefs I have in each location do a wonderful job. They really have tuned it in. And because we have so many different locations, we don't run into the issue of them saying, oh, you should put on the menu, you should put on the menu. They know if they want, like our members club has their signature chili. If you want chili, you go to the members club. If you want your, you know, high end, whatever it might be for that day, you go to the reserve club or players club. If you want your pizza, you go to founders club. So I'm lucky, very lucky in that aspect that we kind of have the different locations that the members can pick and choose from to get what they're looking for. And then we do have some things that we constantly run as specials. When we have meatloaf, liver and onions, or like chicken pot pie, you better have probably at least 200 to 250 orders of that because everybody's coming for it. I enjoy liver and onions once in a while, but we could run that 7 days a week and we would sell out of it 7 days a week. It's, you know, they love that comfort food. But you know, so we do bring that back and tease them.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Getting we have, some of us are kind of spoiled in major markets when it comes to sourcing things in Chicago and New York, obviously. And I bring it up when I talk to chefs from around the country, and I try to talk about availability, and that's the biggest thing in a little bit smaller market like where you're at in North Carolina. So we should probably feel good about some of the bigger markets when we can just make a phone call. That truffle salt will be there next day, you know, at 8 o'clock in the morning on your back dock. So it's just a little bit different. Chefs, talking about menus, and Chef David bring up the point where certain things that are on the menu, and I always like to try to ask chefs in these interviews about something on their menu that they can't take off, something that you either inherited, and obviously, Peter, you have several different restaurants, but give me an example of an item or two that if you took it off, you would get way too many emails to keep it off the menu. Chef Dave.
Yeah, you wouldn't get emails. You just get hung from a tree probably.
Well, like, there's that,
yeah. So there, you know, it's you know, chicken parmesan. It's Ritz cracker crusted haddock. Those two things are untouchable. You just can't even think about taking those off. And we sell a ton of it. And you know, it's, you know, from a chef standpoint, it's just like you just grind it out. You know, with the kid with the haddock last night, he must have sold 30, 40 orders of haddock. Now we're doing now, just so you know, last night we did probably 90 covers in takeout, and I think we did another 140 in a la carte dining. That's, you know, that was our Friday night last night, and that's probably fairly typical of that. But with everything else that's going on around, you know, our numbers are solid. But yeah, no, you know, and then, you know, there's the, you know, Cobb salad and all that stuff at lunch and during the dinner thing. And, you know, you just, you know, if you take it off, you're just going to have to make it anyway, you know? So it's like, you know, you're not going to have the mise en place around for it. So, you know, you can't just take it off. I mean, sometimes I'll take something and I'll slide it off like that and be like, okay, maybe not those items, but something else that was fairly popular. And I'll say, well, out of sight, out of mind, you know, type of a, and it works fairly good, you know, but then you still have to, you know, oh, so-and-so wants you to make this. It's like, oh, okay, well, because it's always when you're the busiest too, you know, that you can run around and grab everything for it.
I'm sure the servers always come back and ask you to have it before they ring it in too, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Oh, this person
Right.
wants. Oh, they always get it. Like, yeah, but we don't have that.
Just put it in. Chef Peter, what's on your menu? You've been there a year, and you have, like I said, you have a couple different clubhouses, but North Carolina, what can't you take off your menu down there?
I guess I could probably try and take a clubhouse to clubhouse. That's probably the best way to really think about it. But I mean, I mentioned Founders has pizzas, and if we ever took pizza off, I'd be fired, honestly. I mean, there would no questions about it at that clubhouse. We sell way too many of them. They love their pizzas. At Members Club, it's the chili, and then we do a taco salad. And I first came on, I was like, oh, well, let's revamp this. Let's, how many taco salads are we really selling? And then I look at the numbers and I'm like, okay, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to take that off the lunch menu, ever. Right. Down at Tommy Thompson's, you ever take off their fried fish baskets? Because they can choose, fried shrimp, fried oysters, fried, different types of fried scallops. If you ever took that off, I'm in trouble again. At Players, they're a little bit more easygoing with manipulating the schedule and being a little bit more open to change because it is a little bit more of a high end. But if I'm trying to think what really they sell there.
No crab cakes or something in the Carolinas? Not really.
Most of the people that live on property are from the tri-state area, so the joke from the locals is that this is little Jersey,
Little Jersey,
because there's so many people from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It's all Northerners that have come down and retired. I mean, we are a gated community, but it's all mostly Northerners that have relocated and just want to enjoy the beautiful weather, the unlimited golf that they can play, and just have a good time. And I can't say I blame them. I wish I could do it.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a good connection from you being up in that area, and at least there's some bonding going on there. Well, hey, chefs, we're out of time here right now, but I hope that the two of you can stay in contact with each other, and I'll certainly look forward to sending this off to some of the Troon chefs that I've been in contact with, and hopefully you guys can realize the value in networking with each other and talking to each other. And maybe Dave, you can ask Peter sometime or vice versa. Peter can ask Dave to send him down some truffle salt sometime soon. Or
yeah, no problem.
Luckily,
yeah, we like to try to. No, that's good, Peter. It's my pleasure to meet you, Peter. And I actually every once in a while I'll shoot his F&B director a question about something, and I'll reach out into the chefs every once in a while. I've got a few people that I kind of talk to, and now they know Peter. I'll do that even more. So that's great.
Hope everybody does. All right, chefs. Thanks again for joining me. Appreciate everything.
All right.